So that's Mum and Dad, Bill and Margaret, on their wedding day, 1960.
Now, I've written a bit about your father, and that's the first time I've seen him.
Oh.
And this is the room where your father used to play his piano.
That's right. So originally it was a billiard room when it was built, had a large full-size billiard table in it that was later on went to the Cambridge club, men's club. So when we were all living here, it was Dad's music room where the trio would practice, and he would play on the piano, which used to be in that corner.
Could you hear your dad's music filtering through the house?
Yes, it would. We could hear it going upstairs when we were sleeping, went to bed at night. It's lovely.
Should we have a look at your dad's piano?
Yes.
And it's not just any old piano.
No.
It's a Steinway. And he would have spent many, many hours on that.
Yes.
So Katharyn, thank you very much for the piano, and it's going to have a nice new home in the Cambridge Museum.
Yes, that's wonderful news.
And how do you feel about the piano moving out after decades?
Oh, it's. I think the piano itself probably feels a bit strange moving out of here because it's been here for so long. However, it's a marvellous thing that it's moving on to a good home, and we're thrilled. The family's thrilled about that.
And of course, it's not just going to be sitting in the museum, it's going to be restored, and concert pianists are going to come in and play it. So
Gosh.
That really sort of adds to the story of your father's piano.
Oh, well, that's good. Don't hold your breath. I mean, I think you have to find out how much it costs to restore it. But, if it can be done, then that's fantastic. If the community can really enjoy using it, not just looking at it. Yeah.
So I guess that feels quite good.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, well done, Andrew. I think it's and the Cambridge Museum and Elizabeth. I think it's a marvellous outcome.
Any thoughts about your dad's memories about his playing?
Oh, yes. Well, it was always so wonderful. So he made beautiful sounds come out of this piano. As for his children, not quite so much. Mixed feelings about the piano. It was sort of like half an hour a day that we had to come in and practice before we could do anything else. In a way, it was just one of those things that had to be done. So at times I really enjoyed it, and other times it was a bit like...
You wanted to get out and ride your horse?
Yes, something like that, yes.
So he was your teacher as well?
No. But he knew lots of wonderful people who were pianists, who were teachers of ours over the years. Margaret Crawshaw, Donald Bowick, people like that. I
just have to wonder if...
Anne Singh was another one. She was a Cambridge pianist. We all started with her, and she and Dad played duets, and so did Margaret and Dad, and Donald was in Auckland, but so I learnt from him when I went to Auckland.
I have to wonder if being taught piano by Dad is a bit like being taught to drive the car by Dad.
Yes, and driving the car by Dad was not good because he was always like, ah! He wasn't really... Teaching wasn't his forte, but playing was. Yes.
What was your favourite memories of Bill playing the piano?
Just going to bed and going to sleep with that wonderful sound of that playing on many occasions. That was the favourite. That more so than sitting up straight at a concert listening to him play the finished product. It was more the relaxed sound of going to sleep here at night.
Oh, so you actually went to his concerts as well?
Yes, sometimes we did, yes. Yeah.
At what kind of places? In Cambridge?
Oh, Te Awamutu or Te Araha. I can remember they were two of them. Places like that.
And I guess classical music, it's a very formal thing. You do have to sit up straight and listen.
Yes, you do.
And if you're young and fidgety...
Yes, not good for young and fidgety. So, no, I didn't mind. It was quite pleasant to be at those concerts.
Were you proud of Dad when he was playing on the stage?
Absolutely. Yes, of course we were. Yeah, all of us were.
And people thought very highly of him too as playing as well, didn't they?
Yes. They did think highly of his playing, and he was a gentleman as well. So.
We've got some sheet music here, Katharyn.
Yes, and I've got it on a spreadsheet for you. The reason for that is that I thought that Auckland University might like Dad's sheet music, but I had to go through a few hoops to find the right person. First of all, they wanted me to put it all on a spreadsheet or describe it in some way, because there were 2 large cartons of it. And then it went to the librarian, and then it went to the student association, and then it went to the School of Music, and then I finally got to, there were a couple of piano specialists at the School of Music, and yes, they would like to take the music, especially at the beginning of the year. It might be interesting for their piano students. So that was really good outcome. And of course I've kept a few for you, Andrew, to put with the piano.
And of course, Katharyn, the sheet music your father had from Auckland University, that was from his student days, because he graduated from there with a
Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Music.
And so that sheet music would have dated from that time?
It was gathered from various sources, I think. And he may not have played all of it. There was some in there from my mother's ancestors as well. So I think everybody, when they didn't need their sheet music anymore, asked Bill if he'd like it, perhaps. So, I think, being a sheep farmer, I'm pretty sure this is a woolen cushion, which I'm pretty sure was probably covered by Barbara Vosper. She was married to Harold Vosper, Dad's first cousin. Later on, Barbara Wilson, because Harold unfortunately passed away in an accident, but she did some woolen woven curtains, I think, that are in the office, and this matches those.
Nathan, what are we looking at?
Well,
what needs to be done to this piano, do you think?
most of it's just a general clean and clear what's there. The piano has had a lot of wear. Sorry, I'll just open this up. Wear and tear, just because of its use. So nothing bad. It's not been damaged or abused. It's just been worn. It's got quite damp in the old home that it came out of. So as you see, there's notes that stick forward.
And that's caused by the dampness.
Yeah, so everything runs on small polished little pins. So if they're not 0 or 2 grams of friction, they start sticking. So what we're dealing with what we're going to deal with first in this instrument is to clean it up, dry it, lubricate it, and then see how much we can get out of that before we go too far. I'll carry on and pull some more parts off so you can see what we're in for. So I've just taken off the front cover and the fall, and now we're looking at the ivory keyboard, and the balance pins here, and the bushings, and here is the piano action here. As we can see, it's had a bit of a life. At one point they were rebushed, but of course all of these parts are the sacrificial parts that wear out. You can see it's Don McIntosh tuned it here in 2004 and 2006. What else to look at?
So I raised, I think, $1,200 so far. That's covered the cost of moving it out here for restoration, which was a best part of $400.
Yep.
Which leaves us with $600 odd dollars. That's going to pay for the tuning.
And I'm going to do a general service on the piano. So this is basically, I'll put it through the system like I would do one of our imports. That way we can actually get the instrument back up playing at a reasonable speed, and then we can figure out what it sounds like, how it plays, and how much is left of it. Because at the moment, because it's all seized, and you can see that it's all sicking down like this, these notes are like that, we can't play it, we can't assess it. So what we'll do, now that we know how much of a budget we've got to play with, we'll go through and we'll do as much as we can for that. Hopefully we can get it up to a point where it's tuned and playable. And then my feeling is, instead of worrying, is just get it into the public, get it used, get everybody going on it, and fall in love with it, and then we'll look at how much to rebuild it further from what we've got.
But if I raised another $1,000, you could do a little bit more before we moved it into the museum.
Yes, we can do a little bit more, but there's a point where it's not enough to do any good, so there's no point in wasting money on it. I don't think there's any point in putting too much into it straight away. $1,000 might do a bit, but being a Steinway, the parts are more expensive than normal. I would be generally saying, let's put on more generic parts. They're genuine parts, they just don't have the name Steinway, so you're not paying exuberant prices for the parts. I can get the same hammers, for example, out of Arbel in Germany. They're the hammer makers. They make Steinway, so does Renner. So instead of buying the label, I'll just buy the brand before it even gets there. Then we can put it on for half the price.
So your advice at this stage is get it into tunable condition, move it back into the museum, it's playable, and then we can start looking at further work in the future.
Correct. As far as I'm aware, this piano has not got any structural issues. So there's no reason we can't just put this back into the museum as is, and then later on, if we decide that you decide that it's got a lot of interest and people want to support it, then all we need to do is bring the piano action back. We don't have to bring the whole instrument, and we can just rebuild the motor here, as it were. So, I mean, that's just a case of taking out the piano action. We do it now anyway, so you can have a look. These are the frame bolt, action nut bolts. Oh, it's got a ticky bit. There it is. And here's your piano action. Easy as that. And then we put it on the bench and have a look. And we go, right, so we see in the back here, all the tapes are still there. They're a little bit different brand. So you can see over the years, the leather has perished, the cotton has perished. So the technician at the time has gone and done a few bits and pieces. We don't know what the customer or the owner asked for. They might have said, just make it work. They might have said, put a sticky plaster on it. So we can't judge what the technician, we can't, say, oh, they did a lousy job, because they might have just been restricted. So we just take it as it is, and we go, okay, everything's there that we can see. You can see through here, we've had a few repairs done to the dampers, all the little extra bits put through. That's not a bad thing, it all still works. So if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So there's lots of bits and pieces. Later on, it's things like here, these are the hammer return springs. You can see this one's actually been repaired badly with a matchstick. That's not good. These have all got matchsticks stuffed into them. This was a very old, crude technique they used when they were on the job and they couldn't take it back to the workshop. So when we go to put more money into this instrument, these are the bits that we will be repairing. We'll be taking out all of the old springs and we'll be replacing them with new, with proper cotton cord. Dampers, of course, these are the little brake pads. If you can feel that, they have actually started putting a bit of a crust on, and they're no longer really soft and squishy. They're your brakes. So at the moment they're okay, but it would be a case of these are going to go harder and harder over the years. So again, that's where you would put your money. You would put your money into the new return springs because that brings the piano action back and plays at fast repetition. You'd put new damper felts here all on because these are your brake pads. These have worn out. You've got tail felts here to do. The last thing we're going to look at is the hammers. The hammers themselves are rather worn. You can see the lines through the grooves where it's been cutting in the hammer there. And the hammer itself, the shape is no longer how it should be. Here's a hammer, funny enough, the same hammer. That's how a full hammer should look, with nice, no lines in it. It's not been played. This is a real one off the end of the line. And if I hold it to this one, you can see, can you see the size difference? So not so bad in the bass, they don't get worn out as much because they don't get played. This is the bottom note, but you can see that there is a couple of mils worn off the top. Maybe if I put it on that side, can you see how it's not the same there? See how much it's worn out there? So when I put a new set of hammers on, you'll get all of that felt back. That tells me how old the thing is. So that's where you would put your money if you were going to rebuild it.
What can you tell me about this piano? Is it a good quality piano?
Of course, it's a Steinway. This is a Steinway Model V. It's quite a good size instrument. Not the full size that you could get, but this was a very, very good size piano. Everybody liked them. It's very well built. Steinway, of course, used all the best materials they could. So structurally wise, this instrument is still there, still going strong. It doesn't need anything looking at that yet. Strings wise, it's had a few replacements of bass strings over the years. If we were going to do anything to the piano on the inside, yes, we would restring it, but only if it started to really fault. This is not rusty yet. None of the plain wires are a problem. So far it's okay. The bass strings may go dead over time. When they go dead, they go dull. So instead of going ding, 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 they go donk, 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 donk. That's not very musical. So if in the future, that is also where you would. But again, that's a lot of expense. We don't need to. The ivory is original. There's no chips. There's no cracks. So other than a general clean-up, that's great. We don't have to touch the ivory. On the inside, the bushings, these are sacrificial cloth bushings that run on polished pins. As you can see, there's a little bit of wear there now and wobble, so they will be rebushed, or Profelt is the chemical we use, and that'll restore the bushings if need be.
Do you know what year this piano was made, Nathan?
What did we think it was?
Early 1950s was the approximation, wasn't it?
Yeah. Shall I have a quick little look? There's underneath, so you can see. Structurally wise, it's all very there. Let's have a look at Steinway. S for Steinway. S-T-E. Where is it? Steinberg. Steinway, Steingruber. Steinway, here we go. Steinway, and what have we got? 344. 344. That would be making it 1954. Because 1956 is 346, so it's too old. So it'll be late 1954, this instrument.
And I'm presuming because it's got Steinway and Sons Hamburg, this was a German-made Steinway?
Yeah, it doesn't say New York on it, so it must be a Hamburg Steinway.
And that's kind of unusual, considering that this is not long after the Second World War, and Germany wasn't exactly in New Zealand's good books at the time.
No, but German pianos were the leading piano makers of the world.
So despite the war, people still wanted German pianos.
Yep, and all the pianos that came out at that time had German-sounding names. Even the English pianos that were built had German-sounding names. Japanese pianos, of course, they had Steigerman written on them. Now, Steigerman sounds very close to a Steinway. That was written in very small lettering, about that big, Steigerman right in the middle, because, of course, they sold pianos. People bought them thinking they were a German piano.
So if we have a piano that sounds a little bit Germanic,
correct,
we're going to fool the...
Yes. And the English were very good at it. They would make what we call stencil pianos. Germans did it as well. A stencil piano didn't have any name on it whatsoever, and then they could bring it into the shop and they'd have 3 different names on the same brand, and people would think they're buying 3 different models of pianos or 3 different makers of pianos, and yet they're all the same. But yeah, people liked, New Zealand brought in a lot of Richard Lip pianos, again, very popular German brands. The Germans were able to make really good cast iron frames. They got their stringing very oblique, so they got the biggest strings they could get into their upright pianos, and that's why they just pushed ahead of everybody else, because they were more interested in the piano and the instrument versus the cabinet and the piece of furniture. Even though they were absolutely lovely and polished to the hilt, of course. That one's not a very good copy, but yeah.
And this was purchased from Lewis Eady.
Well, Lewis Eady were the Steinway agents in New Zealand, still are. They were a family-run company in Auckland for a long time. They've sold out now to the Chinese, to the something group. Not sure, but they're still carrying on with Steinway. And Steinway is still a very popular model around the world.
So in its time, Bill Vosper's piano, this was no cheap upright. This was the top end stuff. Yep. This was your Lexus of pianos.
Yeah, pretty much. Especially for a private instrument in your home. Yeah, they spent a lot of money because they obviously valued the instrument. They thought that piano, and everybody did. People would buy a piano over a TV or a refrigerator even. They would do without those things if they had a piano, and especially a decent piano.
Well, it also says something, it's also a testament to Bill Vosper himself, because this was no garden variety pianist. This was a guy who needed a good piano.
Yep, definitely. And this was the best thing they could buy. So he went and got the best piano he could buy at the time.
And his family invested.
Yep. Everybody would have had to be in on this because it wasn't cheap, and they've looked after it well, because you can tell by the outside, because of course that's what everybody dings and scratches and touches. Apart from a little bit of fading, the piano hasn't been abused. After all of these years and all the people that have been through that house, the piano's still in very good condition for its age. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nathan.
That's all right.